Good morning, students. So today we are going to start next chapter of our NCERT book, and that is chapter 12, biotechnology and its application. In the previous chapter, we have learned about the technique of recombinant DNA technology and what are the various things that is done by biotechnology for human welfare. Now you are well aware about the technique of rDNA technology or genetic engineering. So it is easy for us to learn this chapter. So in this chapter, what we are going to study that I have discussed, that first topic which we take in this chapter is biotechnological applications in the field of agriculture. As you know, students, biotechnology has done so many things for human welfare. So in this chapter, we are going to study about the applications of biotechnology in agriculture, then the applications of biotechnology in the field of medicines, that how we obtain drugs, various pharmaceuticals by using this process. Third one are, we also learned about transgenic animals. These are actually the genetically modified organisms in which man has done genetic manipulations so that we can use them for our own purpose, for transportation of certain desirable genes which are of our interest. And last one is, there are certain ethical issues which are associated with this technique. So in this chapter, we will also focus on those issues which are related with the technique of biotechnology. Yes, student, what is given in the introduction? That biotechnology is a branch of science which essentially deals with industrial scale production of pharmaceuticals, that is biopharmaceuticals, and various type of biologicals by making use of genetically modified organisms. It may be microorganisms, it may be fungi, plant or animal cells. So this definition states that we, by using this process of genetic engineering, we can produce large scale pharmaceuticals which are actually formed with the help of living organisms. That's why they are known as biopharmaceuticals. We can also prepare different types of genetically modified organisms. It may be the transgenic crops, or it may be some transgenic animals, the various type of microorganisms as well as fungal organisms which can be used for transmutation of our desirable genes. Yes, student, there are different definitions that are given by different organizations. So according to the British biotechnologist, biotechnology is the application of biological organisms, systems or the process to manufacturing and servicing industries. So that is the definition given by the British biotechnologist. Then according to European Federation of Biotechnologists, what is biotechnology? Biotechnology is the integrated use of biochemistry, microbiology and various type of engineering sciences in order to achieve technological applications of microorganisms, their cultured cells and parts, and thereof all other type of enzymes that are present in these cells and catalyzing various type of reactions. Yes, student, next is biotechnology according to US National Science Foundation. So it is a controlled use of biological agents such as microbes or microorganisms or the cellular components that are present in these organisms for human welfare. Yes, student, here among the applications of the biotechnology, we will going to study about therapeutics. Here we will discussing about the technique of gene therapy. So in various fields, gene therapy is done in order to replace some gene which is not working properly, or sometimes the genes they get deleted during the process of cell division, but that gene is performing some crucial role in your body. So in that cases, gene therapy is done. It is an expensive technique, though not very much there in India, but in the foreign countries it is very dominant type of technique and is used for treatment of various genetic disorders. Second one is diagnostics. So here diagnostic means that sometimes when a disease is caused and the symptoms of that disease is not appear all of a sudden, it takes time to appear the symptoms. In that case, as we are not aware of the pathogen, so when the symptoms appear, it is too late for us for the diagnosis of the disease. So in that cases, we can use the various tools that are used in this genetic engineering, and one of them is PCR, that is polymerase chain reaction, by which we can amplify the genetic material of the antigen or the pathogen, and before the appearance of the symptoms, we can identify the genome, and so in this way the diagnosis of the disease can be started earlier. Third one is genetically modified crops for agriculture. We have prepared so many genetically modified crops, or you can say GMO crops, and that has helped our farmer a lot, because these crops, they gave us a more yield. They are stress resistant crops. They are not causing any kind of pollution because we are not making use of so much agrochemicals. The fertility of the soil is also maintained, and the post harvest losses are also less. And fourth one is bioremediation. So here different type of remedies that are used for the recovery of our environment, you can say, or to prevent pollution of different types. It may be the environmental pollution such as water pollution, soil pollution, etc. So many remedies are here discussed by this technique that are quite useful for us. And next is waste treatment. So by the application of various type of microorganisms and the enzymes that are present in these microorganisms, we can successfully uh, treat the waste products that are generally in the present in the form of a sewage, and that can cause pollution. So here we have already studied the role of microorganisms. So energy production in the future, as you know that there is a demand of more and more energy resources which cannot be exhausted. So in that case, the scientists, they are looking for biofuels. So these biofuels, they are generally prepared with the help of this branch of biology, which is known as biotechnology. So various type of biofuels, they will appear in the future by the extraction of the different type of essential oils that we collected from these plants. So all of these are things we are going to discuss in the chat. Yes, student, here one flowchart is visible on your screen. That agricultural biotechnology had the following subdisciplines. Here we are also studied in the previous chapter about genetic engineering, so you are well aware of it. Another thing is tissue culture. So here we take any cell or tissue from the plant or the animal species, and we later do the culturing of that tissue in vitro conditions. We provide all the optimum conditions required for its growth. So in this way, we can obtain the whole plant as well as the animal species. So this method is quite useful for protecting, or you can say for prevent the endangered species. So we can protect our endangered species in that situations. And cell fusion is another method. Sometimes the two cells, they are not able to fuse, so we provide certain optimum conditions for the fusion of these cells. Then hybridization means a specific type of hybrids, they are formed with the help of this technique. Soma clonal variations, there are certain variations that appear in the somatic cells, and these variations, they are quite useful because we can obtain superior varieties of crop by this method, and we will study about it in detail in the later part of this chapter, that is soma clonal variations. Okay, student, embryo rescue is another technique in which we isolate the embryo from the in vivo conditions and we allow its growth in vitro conditions. So this is a quite important technique that is related with agriculture biotechnology. And last one is organ culture. So here we can do the culture of any of the organ of the plant. It may be root culture, shoot culture, or meristem culture. Meristem culture here is very important because by this meristem culturing, we can obtain virus-free plant if the whole plant is suffering from some plant disease. Yes, students. So there are three critical areas of research of biotechnology. That means biotechnology has done research in three critical areas. Number one is providing a best catalyst in the form of improved organism, usually in the form of a microbe or a pure enzyme. So one of the aim of biotechnology is to find out such type of microorganism or an enzyme which can be later used as a best catalyst in vitro conditions for various metabolic reactions for obtaining our desired product. Second one is creating optimal conditions through engineering for a catalyst to act. For example, as we have studied in the previous chapters, that in the bioreactors we isolate our desired product host cells, and later we allow their growth by providing suitable and optimum conditions in those bioreactors. So here when you isolate a catalyst, that catalyst can successfully work. For this purpose, you have to create optimal conditions, and such optimum conditions they are created in the laboratory so that the catalyst efficiently work and catalyze a chemical reaction for the obtaining of our desirable product. And third one is downstream processing. Another important research area here is the downstream processing technologies. These technologies are actually related with the various type of separation techniques for the isolation of our desired product and their further purification, as well as the use of preservatives and the testing of this desired product before its launching in the market. So we have done so many advancement in the field of these downstream processing technologies. Yes, student, here one picture is visible on your screen. We have obtained so many different type of transgenic crops. For example, stress tolerance rice we have obtained from this genetic engineering. Second one is multiple insect resistant cotton. So as you know, in cotton bollworm, they cause the disease, but there are other numerous insects that can cause the disease in cotton plant. So here we can make a special type of cotton species or transgenic plant which is resistant to multiple insects. We have obtained GM rice. I will show you the picture of GM rice later. And then we have obtained transgenic mustard, which has given a high yield of mustard oil in this case. And GM brinjals, they look very much fresh, as well as they have a bigger in size. Then we have herbicide resistant these onions. Later we use so many herbicides to protect our onion crop, but now our transgenic plant is capable and we can obtain such type of herbicide tolerant onions. Yes, student, here I am going to discuss in detail the biotechnological applications in the field of agriculture. So what is the earlier options that are available to our farmer for obtaining better yield and stress resistant crops? So here three options that can be thought for increasing the food production. Number one is agrochemical based agriculture. As you know, all of you know very well, after independence, when there is a rapid increase in the size of our population, so there is also a demand for more and more crop production. So at that time, with the um, help of some superior scientists, we have done green revolution in India, and that green revolution, it increases, it enhances the rate of our crop production triple than our population. So now India is fully capable of feeding its own big population. So here students, I am going to tell you that during green revolution there is a triple in the increase of your cereal crops, and that for this purpose we have make use of so many agro chemicals. These may be pesticide, insecticide, fungicides, weedicides, etc. We have also used the better management practices, and beside high yielding varieties they are also playing certain important role. That means we are using that time conventional methods of breeding, but there are certain limitations that are associated with this agrochemical based agriculture, because you know that these agrochemicals, when we spray them on our crops, then what happen during the rainy season, all of these agrochemicals that comes into our water bodies, they cause eutrophication, and that causes water pollution as well as soil pollution, and also it exhausts the soil fertility too. Excessive use of these agrochemicals, they become the part of our food chain, and in this way they have so many side effects on our body too. And later what the farmer think, after not getting satisfied with this agrochemical based agriculture, the farmer switch to organic farming. So here the farmer use the natural methods of farming. So he make use of more and more manure for providing nutrients to their crops. But it is also one of the expensive method because in the villages the cow dung is available at a larger stock, but not in the cities. So that method is not quite efficient. There are certain limitations that are also associated with this organic agriculture. And secondly, in the organic agriculture, the role of microorganisms, they are very much important, as you have studied in the chapter of microbes and human welfare, that there are variety of microorganisms present in your field and that have prey-predator type of relationships. They can be used as a biocontrol agents and biofertilizers. And third one is genetically engineered crop-based agriculture. So after having so many limitations of this agrochemical-based agriculture and organic culture, the third option that is available to our farmer is the genetically engineered crop-based agriculture. I'm not saying that this is the efficient method, still it has certain limitations. And Indian farmer is also not very much rich. So that's why every year to buy seeds for this transgenic crop is not a good option for our farmer. So here I have written students all the historical account that what kind of agriculture methods they are adopted by our farmers time to time. So according to Green Revolution, you know that Green Revolution that was done in India by the scientist M.S. Swaminathan. So Green Revolution, it succeeded in tripling the food supply to feed the growing human population. Now this increased yield have partly due to improved crop varieties. These are the high yielding varieties. And it is also because of some better management practices, use of so many agrochemicals such as pesticides, fertilizers. But what is the disadvantage of this method? That these agrochemicals, they are too expensive for our farmers to buy. And the yield of existing varieties are not possible by using the conventional methods of breeding. So to minimize the use of these fertilizers and their harmful effect on environment, the farmers they later have an option to use a genetically modified crop, and that should be a better solution in modern time. Yes, student. Here I have shown you the various pictures of the GMO organisms. So what are these genetically modified organisms? So various plants, bacteria, fungi, and animals whose genes have been altered by manipulations. They are called genetically modified organisms. So here I have shown you the golden rice. So earlier the traditional rice, they gave us only carbohydrates, but the golden rice, that is rich in iron content too. So when you eat these rice, you get carbohydrates as well as iron. And second one is we have obtained so many varieties of these transgenic citrus fruits that are quite efficient in vitamin C. And third one is our transgenic maize. And fourth one is special shaped apples. These are actually the transgenic apples. Though you know that the apple is generally globular in shape, but these apples, they are somewhat rectangular in shape. Okay, student, genetically modified organisms, or you can say genetically modified plants, they have several advantages, students. So here I am going to discuss those advantages with you. That these genetically modified plants, they are actually such type of crops which have more tolerance power to abiotic stresses. There are different type of abiotic stresses that are present in the field, such as cold, drought, saline soil, and sometimes heat. So all of these transgenic crops, they are tolerant to these abiotic type of stresses. And these transgenic plants, they reduce reliance on chemical pesticides, because earlier we are more and more dependent on our agrochemicals, but they causes environmental pollution, as well as they are also depleting the nutrients that are present in our soil. So here we, by making use of these transgenic plants, we are less dependent on these chemical pesticides. And third one is they help to reduce post-harvest losses. So when you are using transgenic plant, then there are less post-harvest losses. Fourth one is it increases the efficiency of mineral usage by the plant. And this prevents early exhaustion of fertility of the soil. Okay, student. And fifth one is enhanced the nutritional value of the food. That means those cereal crops which are earlier rich in carbohydrates. Now we have insert so many important genes that are related with certain important vitamins that are very much essential for our health. So whenever you make use of these cereal crops, the vitamins, they are coming into your body side by side. Yes, student, here I am going to discuss about the pest resistant plants. So these plants, they are known as the tailor-made plants, or you can say transgenic plants. I have already discussed about these transgenic plants in my previous lectures of the previous chapter. So here I am again discussing about a bacterium which is known as Bacillus thuringiensis. And this Bacillus thuringiensis bacteria, it develops a specific type of chemical which is known as Bt toxin at its stage of development. So this Bt toxin gene, they are cloned from the bacteria and they are expressed in some plants to provide resistance towards the various type of insects which are causing diseases in these plants. So we have made one transgenic cotton plant by doing this method. So what is the special thing about this Bt toxin? That this Bt toxin, it remains inactive inside the bacterium. It remains inactive and do not kill the bacterium, because the Bt toxin, it only get activated as soon as it receives the basic pH, and that pH they obtained in the midgut of the insect. So some strains of the Bacillus thuringiensis, they produce proteins, and that can kill a different type of insects. It may be Lepidopterans, that is a tobacco, budworm, armyworm, etc. Coleopterans, that is beetles, and dipterans, that is flies, mosquitoes, which are generally causing damage to our crops. So these Bacillus thuringiensis, they form protein crystals during a particular phase of their life cycle. And these crystals, they contain a toxic insecticidal protein. Now what happened, this Bt toxin, protein, later it exists in the form of an inactive protein, but once it enters into the midgut of the insect, it obtained a basic environment in basic pH in that midgut, and then it gets activated in the presence of an alkaline pH, and which solubilizes the crystals. So in this way, what happens, these activated toxins, they bind to the surface of the midgut epithelial cells of the insect, and it creates spores and lysis, and which causes the cell swelling, and eventually it leads to the death of the insects. In this way, this transgenic plant, it generally kills the larva of the insect and the insect itself. The specific Bt toxin genes, they were isolated and later inserted into cotton plants. They are isolated from Bacillus thuringiensis and inserted in various crops such as cotton, corn, etc. So the choice of the genes, it depends upon the crop and the target pest which cause diseases in it. So these most of these Bt toxins, they are the insect group specific, and there are different type of toxins that we isolate from Bacillus thuringiensis, and these are coded by a specific type of genes such as Cry1AC, or you can simply call it as Cry genes. So proteins encoded by the genes Cry1AC and Cry2AB, they generally control cotton bollworms, which are causes a disease in cotton plant. And there is one another Cry gene, that is Cry1AB. It controls a corn borer insect. So in this way, we have obtained so many tailor plants and transgenic plants. Student, I am quite hopeful that the lecture is clear to you. So in my upcoming lecture, I will discuss about more about the transgenic plants. So we will discuss tomorrow about the different type of pest resistant plants that we obtained by making use of this genetic engineering technique. So that's all in today's lecture, student. Have a nice day.